I have one question to ask you guys. Has anyone here have been crazy about something? Like you love it so much that you can relate the subject to life and feel so happy about the thing you love? Well, I have one. It's the big heart of math. Some people here will hate math because it only deals with numbers, calculations, and logics that may not be making any sense, even though when your math teacher says, "Trust me, it's easy," and you immediately know it's going to ruin your exam. My friends thought I was weird for skipping hangouts just to do math. They said I had no life. Most people view math as torture, but for me, math is something more than numbers, calculations, and logics. For me, it felt like it had a heartbeat. It was passion, it was connection, and it was life. But here's the thing. I wasn't always this person. In fact, if you met me as a kid, you will never, ever imagine me standing here today talking about this. When I was in kindergarten and primary school in Korea, then later in China, I hated studying. And math topped one of my hate list. My teachers had to constantly call my mom just to tell her, "Your daughter isn't good at math. She needs extra lessons." Or even worse, "You should choose a future for her that doesn't involve math." Then later, when I moved to an international school, things got worse. My English was terrible, my math was worse, and nothing made any sense. Everything felt like a giant barrier that I would never be able to step over. Everything felt impossible. Especially, I wanted to be good at math so badly, but no matter how much I tried, I just couldn't find a way to step over the barrier that was blocking me. Then I would come home in tears to my mom because I felt zero confidence, because failing in math affected everything. But my mom always stayed calm, and she said, "You're not bad at math. You actually have a great passion inside you, but you haven't found it yet, because you haven't met the right guy to guide you." Then later, it came year 9, the turning point of my life. I got introduced to a math tutor through my mom. I still remember my first lesson. I was hesitant about my solutions, and I was always asking my tutor if this was correct or if this was incorrect. And I was rushing too much, ending up in making so many mistakes in most of the questions. I got worried if my math tutor will be so mad at me for making mistakes. But one thing that really surprised me was he taught things differently. Instead of filling my head with new mathematical knowledge, he linked math with life. He said, "You have to have a gut to prove what's wrong and what's right, even though when you're wrong. Because failure is never a negative, but it's always a positive. You will feel bitter, but that's just because you're human. Don't lose confidence. Failure is always a gain." I was so surprised by how he didn't make me feel like I was so messed up. He gave me a great confidence. And it was never about getting the right answer, but it was always about how to not give up. Then I realized my mom was correct. The way I got here is because I found the right guide and I made a choice to believe in myself, even in those times that I thought I would never be able to step over the barrier. And now I became a math nerd, just like how my friends would call me, with all my grades in all subjects being opposite to what I had until year 8. Breaking the barrier of math has not only given me to be good at math, but keys to life, unlocking doors that I once was so afraid of. So the equation of resilience is not about X or Y. It's persistence and growth. It's purely the resilience itself. So I'll leave you with 2 questions. 1, what is your math? And 2, what choice would you make if everybody told you that you couldn't do something? For me, math has given me resilience, and resilience gave me a great confidence. Not just in math, but in myself. I'm not here to convince any of you guys to love math, but all I'm saying is that we all need to love resilience.